And we're going.
Okay.
Another podcast.
Another one. On a Tuesday. Why are we switching this up so much?
Well, I'm going to tell you why. I didn't want to tell you earlier. I wanted it to be a surprise. This week, we're going to have a very special Friday the 13th podcast with the Lactash family.
Really?
Yeah.
It's Friday the 13th this week?
You got to pull that mic right over to you.
I don't want it right.
Away.
Okay. Yours is further away than mine.
A fist away. Make a fist. There you go. Nope. Whatever. I'm going to fight with you about this. We're going to move on.
It's Friday the 13th this week?
Yeah.
I did not even notice. Holy fuck. How about it?
I didn't realize it either.
I already started off swearing.
So I sent the...
That's my mood.
I sent the Chris Lactash, something's going on here. I have the wrong button pushed somewhere. I think we're okay. But anyways, I turned it up too much. I'll figure this out sooner or later. I got it. I sent Mr. Lactash a message, and I was like, hey, why don't we do a Friday the 13th podcast? Preferably Friday. And he was on the same page because he said, what about the 13th? I said, yes, sir. So, and if we're going to do a whole hood party podcast, I think we're going to slide the table out to the middle and put more chairs around.
Okay.
And then set up 4 mics so that everybody has one. And
so have you talked to anyone else in the hood about this? Okay.
No, I'm just expecting they'll stop by. But I'll be ready. Because I know how to mix out the noise now. So
okay.
I've learned a lot of things on this podcast, and I'm slowly figuring out how to make the podcast better and better. And it's kind of fun. Kind of fun figuring it all out.
Nice.
So
that's been a lot of work.
It has, but it's fun work. It's like shit that doesn't matter. It's not like if I don't do it good, we won't have food.
Right.
We won't be able to pay our bills.
Thank God.
It's just like, it's fun messing around. It's like hobby stuff. So whatever. And we're going to do a different format now. So for anybody listening to the podcast, we're moving 2 things, 2 exciting announcements. It's not exciting. First thing is we have a phone number for the show. So if you wanted to send a text or call and leave a message that you'd want us to play on the next podcast, or you want to do a celebrity introduction
endorsement
thing. Yeah, like, this is Jimmy Winter, and you're listening to the John Says Things podcast. Like a celebrity thing like that. That'd be my dream.
Yeah.
The number to call, and I'll put it in the show notes thing, is 814-271-0600.
Nice.
814-271-0600. And what this number was is I set up I feel like I'm going to do the first live read right now too for our sponsor, Little Power Shop. littlepowershop.com. Visit them for all your diesel repair parts needs, upgrades to your vehicle. If you need an exhaust, a programmer, a set of steps, anything like that, hit littlepowershop.com up. The guys over there are great. They're amazing people. I've known them. I've personally known these people since they started the business.
Nice.
Salt of the earth, these people. And I've spent a lot of time with them, and they're great folks. So if you need anything at all, littlepowershop.com. I feel like we're official now. We've got a full regular sponsor.
Sweet.
But this phone number, what people don't realize is I do a lot of weird things that nobody knows about in a business sense.
This is my life.
And like, for example, I have all these weird phone numbers, and I will do tech support for other people's products. So this one in particular, there was a product that we were selling, and I tech supported it. I was the tech support line, and it's basically a smart line. And the way this works is it works through GoDaddy, and you can get like a virtual phone number, So instead of giving out my cell phone number, my shop number,
Wait, you mean you don't do that?
I try not to. Well, the other thing is,
Whenever anybody asks me, hey, what's John's number? I'm always like, hey, John, which number do you want me to give them?
the 9167 number is my AIDS number.
Okay.
I'll give that to anybody.
Okay.
Like, I'll write that on a bathroom wall
I know, but then
somewhere.
I'm always like, well, this is like a cool person. I should give him the other number. But
So what I do in total,
so now everyone that has your number is 9167 had their feelings hurt.
no. There's some people that it's weird to, see, I don't understand what keeps happening with this level. I just did something.
Well, I
There
just
it
got
goes.
louder.
Something weird's going on. I don't know if, maybe something's not plugged in all the way or something. Anyways,
I'm going to tell you, I'm not plugged in all the way.
I'm watching the levels and it's going weird. I was just saying before this that I need like a desktop computer.
You need your
in a
cockpit.
room. But anyways, what were we? Oh, the phone numbers. So I have my 9167 number is the same number that I have had from, oh my God, 1994, maybe before that, 92, I think. I've had that number forever. So anyways, everybody and their brother has that phone number, which is fine. And right now it's not even that big of a deal. I probably don't need two phone numbers. But when the shop was super busy and we were doing a lot of shop work, I would get phone calls 24 hours a day.
Holidays.
Oh my God, my truck doesn't
Middle of the
run.
night.
What? you
I
know.
broke down. What's happening?
Right. And of course, I solved this problem. And you want to help people, but at some point, enough's enough. Like you put in a 15-hour day, and then the phone rings the rest of the night, and people just. And to be honest, they're trying to fix their situation as quickly as possible. But at some point, you just have to say enough's enough. At 11 o'clock at night, I'm not going to be able to give you any better help than I can give you at 8 o'clock in the morning when you call the shop tomorrow. So I got a personal phone, and it was for friends, family, and when I got home at night, and I still do it, I set my other phone in the back room, and I usually don't really look at it at night. And, sometimes I'll check it, and if somebody called and they really need something, I'll call them back. But for the most part, when I'm done with work, I'm done. That phone's my work phone.
See, that's the beauty of what I do. There is no paint emergency that someone is going to have to get a hold of me at 11 o'clock at night.
Well, I'll give you a for instance, and I won't blow in this person, but I'm going to write you a note.
Please hold. Oh.
So I was taking I'm going to try and say this delicately so I don't blow anybody in. I was taking a personal night for myself, and I made myself some dinner, and I was drinking some beer and enjoying a fire. So those that know me can probably put the night together. At 11 o'clock that night, I start getting messages through Facebook about working on this person's truck. And I'm like, dude, you're going to have to bring it to me. Where I'm at for tonight, I'm leaving first thing in the morning. I didn't bring my shop with to diagnose your truck. And then this is following tens of messages before that when this is what's going on with my truck. And I would say, it's this. And then he would say back, it can't be, because I have it at the shop that did a really great job, and after they got done, it doesn't run right. What do you think's wrong with it? And I'd be like, it's this. Can't be. So finally, and that's the kind of shit I got all the time. It's like, dude, you want me to go way out of my way, inexplicably. Like, somehow I would have had the foresight to load a big toolbox up with me so I can work on your vehicle in the rain 45 minutes away from my shop.
Right.
For free. And finally, that's the kind of stuff that happened all the time, so I needed a way to separate that because I was already going crazy. Long story short, I had a second phone line. Man, this is just taking a great big detour.
It's all right.
We started off talking about this show phone number, 814-271-0600, that you can call or text. Or I think
Anytime.
I think you can even send dirty pictures to it if you wanted to.
Ew.
So anyways, you don't know. You say ooh? You're saying our listeners are disgusting?
Yes. They're all degenerates.
How rude. But anyways, so I had 2 phone numbers. And then, like you said, I always had this weird thing where all my friends had
You're
both.
so gassy
I
over
know, I
there.
can't
What's
help it.
happening?
That beef stew you made, it's like...
It was
I keep tasting it. It was
delicious.
good. All my friends had both my numbers. And I told them, if somebody asks for my phone number, give them the 9617 number.
9167.
What did I just say?
9617.
Trying to throw everybody off the trail.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, everybody knew you can give anybody that number. And I was fine with it because I could always just turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
And then I always got into this weird situation where I remember one time I was on a business trip and we were sitting at the dinner table and I left my work phone at the hotel. I just took my personal phone with. Well, it didn't occur to me that a lot of the people that we went out to dinner with only had my work number and not my personal number. So they're fucking with me around the other side of the table.
And you had no idea.
They're trying to send me shit and I'm not responding. And I have my phone laying on the table. And they're like, hey. So finally, the one person at the table that had my personal number sends me a text and it goes, and I pick it up and look at it. And they're all looking at me and they're like, you fucker. You have us all on the work phone. Like, you don't.
Yeah.
So, but there's tons of situations like that, or somebody will ask somebody else for my number and they get my work number. And then they're more of a personal friend and they still, like our neighbor, like for example, Dana still texts my work phone. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to like fuck it up and be like, don't text this number anymore because then they get confused and don't know what number to send it to.
Yeah.
And it's fine. Like he doesn't text me that much.
Right.
So.
But what if he did?
Then I'd finally tell him like.
What if he really needed you in the middle of the night and he texted the wrong number?
Then he's gonna wait till morning.
Oh, that's sad.
If he really needs me in the middle of the night, he's gonna walk the 50 feet across the
What if he's
backyard.
not here?
I would get it in the morning. All right, I'm gonna.
So we have a number.
I need to give Dana the other number.
Yes, you do.
So anyways.
Yes, you do.
So anyways, this number, I was doing tech support for a product, and nobody would want. So if you're basically a competitor of ours, you wouldn't want to call. You wouldn't want to give the number of your competitor to your customers to call for tech support. That would be weird. So this was my tech support number for a product that is obsolete now, but I was tech supporting it. So if somebody called and needed tech support, this was the number that was in their instructions.
Okay.
And I would tech support their problems.
So if anybody needs podcast tech support, call the
814-271-0600.
See?
But what's hilarious is this, finally recorded a message today. It says, you've reached the John Says Things podcast, because it had some generic, we are not available right now type thing. Mm-hmm. But there is a doctor's office that must have an extremely close number down by Du Bois or somewhere. Because all the time I'm getting people calling up this number, and it's always old people, and they're like, hello.
I need my foot looked at.
Well, no, it's even worse than that. It's like, hello, this is Helen. I was just returning your call. My social security number is 184.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, delete. And I don't even know what to do. I never call them back. I don't, like, they'll figure it out. And they're like, I just want to make sure that I
What if they died?
Dial the right number, fucker.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I'm not in charge of their fucking life. Just because they dialed the wrong number doesn't mean I'm now the fucking guardian of their fucking appointment.
I'd be calling them all back being like, you called the wrong
Absolutely
number.
not. Nope. So anyways, long story short, I have this number. I'm never going to answer it. I will see it eventually. I'll see your message or your text eventually.
Oh.
And by eventually, it's between the hours of like 8 and 8 during the day, I'm paying attention to because it goes to my personal phone and it will show up there, but I'm not going to answer it and be like, hello.
Mm-hmm.
But you can leave a message, and if your message is good enough, I might call you back. Might even text you back.
Wow.
So, it's big boy stuff.
Yeah, that's exciting.
So, now that we got that out of the way, the other thing we're going to do is we decided to change, or I did, and you're just like, yep, sounds great. We're going to change the format of the show up a little bit to give it a little bit of structure to make it easier for us and people that do the show. So we somehow got on this thing. We're not doing it anymore, but we were doing it last year every night. I don't even know where it came from. One of us heard it somewhere, but every night we would do best, worst, funniest of the day with Piper.
At dinner.
Yeah, at dinner. So we would all come up with the best thing that happened today, the worst thing that happened today, and either the weirdest or the funniest thing that happened today.
Mm-hmm.
And it would just give everybody a reason to share something instead of one person continuously
Or nobody talking.
Or nobody talking. So I think we're going to move the format of the show to the first part of the show. We'll just talk kind of a little bit about whatever. And then we'll talk about the worst thing that happened to us in the last week. And then we'll talk about the best thing that happened. And then the funniest. And it doesn't have to be... So hopefully on Friday we have some guests. And we can get this to them and they can think of like the best thing. Because it gives a little structure. Because people are always worried about, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to talk about on a podcast.
Right.
So
My problem also.
Right. But it gives you a little something just to think about during the week. So when something really funny happens or you shit your pants on a Tuesday, you're like, oh, I'm going to talk about this on the podcast next week.
Now you're giving people goals.
Right. So if anybody that's going to be on the podcast, if you don't have something to talk about, you have to shit your pants. So
At some point during the week. Not when you're at home. That doesn't count.
And then I even came up with some kind of corny bumpers to introduce each segment, which
Yeah.
made me laugh.
John worked very hard on that, just so everyone knows.
Not that hard.
People don't know what bumpers are.
They will. They'll get it.
Okay.
And then our podcast is going to YouTube now, so you can watch it on the YouTubes. You can listen to it.
I was going to say.
Same thing.
Nobody's seeing us,
So now
fortunately.
I realized tonight that it was going onto the YouTubes. So now I've lifted some of these clips from other places, so we'll probably get flagged as stealing content or whatever.
Way
But
to shut it down as soon as you get it on there.
whatever. So I don't know. It is what it is. And so I think we'll touch on this real quick because I think everybody's tired of hearing about it. Pam's ripping ears off of a bunny.
Eraser bunny.
Eraser.
Oh.
But it sounds like you were right. Last week you said Biden's going to be the winner.
I've been saying it for at least a month.
But I'm curious to see how it all turns out. All the weird fraud stuff and crazy things that's come out. I think I was saying the same thing last week. I don't know if it's enough that it overturns the election, but it's looking like, so I pulled up, for everybody that's really sick of watching the news and is confused by it, the best place to look at this is called realclearpolitics.com, and they're pretty, what do I want to say? They're not political. They just kind of report the facts. So they had named or called Pennsylvania for Biden, but last night they pulled it back.
But nobody has reported this. I have not seen this anywhere.
It's amazing.
Are you sure?
Yes. Well, I mean, we're looking at it right here, and look, it's this color.
Well, I know, but
I'm sure.
who says this website is like valid?
I just did, Pam.
That's
No, you can.
That is
you
not
can
enough.
Look. Real Clear Politics works very hard to be very nonpartisan. They're like, we're just going to report you what is going on, especially with these elections,
So then
all
how
this
is
spin.
nobody talking about this?
Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? And that's what's really bothering me right now with a lot
So
of
that
this stuff.
puts him back down to 259.
Right. So they took Pennsylvania out, and then when you look down through these, Arizona, Biden's at 49.4%, and Trump is at 49.1% with 98% in, which I can't fucking understand a week later why they don't have the election results in. It's bananas. Fucking Alaska. What the fuck? 58% Trump, 38% Biden. They can't call this one yet. Like there's some dudes in some igloos somewhere like there's a sled dog riding out to get their votes.
Probably.
Okay, so that one isn't called. Georgia, Biden 49.5, Trump 49.3, 99% in. North Carolina 48.7, Biden 50.1, Trump. So it looks like that one might go to Trump. That's pretty widespread compared to the other ones. And then Pennsylvania is 49.8 Biden versus 49.1 Trump. So if what they're saying at this moment is you can't just make up election rules. Like our election rules are set and we have a society that we all agree upon, and these are the rules. Let's just set aside all the voter fraud supposed shit that the media as soon as anybody posts about
Is that refreshing? Is that what I keep saying?
constantly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They're constantly refreshing. That's what I'm saying. If you go to this one, you can watch
It's
it.
so refreshing.
And but anyways, they're saying in Pennsylvania, all the votes that came in after the polls closed on Tuesday night potentially cannot be counted. Because you can't just willy-nilly make up new rules that everybody doesn't agree on.
Why,
So
can I just ask
had-
why every state doesn't have the same
It's bananas.
rules and laws? Why does every state have their own?
It's the way all of them are.
What? That's what I'm. Why?
But we're the same about everything. Like what? Like Georgia just legalized all drugs. Like pachoo pachoo. Come on, motherfuckers, let's do this.
But I feel like an election should be something that is
A federal election.
statewide,
Like if you're electing,
or I
your-
mean countrywide.
right? If you're electing your governor or your local things, sure, let your local rules, whatever. But I don't know. So you're sticking with Biden, and this is we don't have to drone
not
out
that
about
I
this
want
'cause
it to be.
everybody's probably sick of
Yeah, no,
talking about
there's
it.
yes.
So your gut feeling
I don't want
is-
to be, but I've been yes. I mean, and just like you said, watching coverage on stuff is just very one-sided and nothing. Even if he goes after everybody in every state and everything and this and that, it's still not going to pan out, and Biden's going to be our president.
So I'm still hanging in there that I think Trump might pull this out one way or another for two reasons. The first way is there's just allegations of fraud everywhere. And what's hilarious,
I don't think it's going to matter, though.
I know, but what's hilarious is, have you ever noticed how dead Republicans don't vote? Isn't it weird? Like you never hear of, Republicans from the Civil War voting, but you always hear on, and who knows what's real, of Civil War
That's my
Democrats and
problem.
old people.
The fact that you just had to say, who knows what's real.
Right, but
I'm just over
even
it.
if people are making up stuff, why wouldn't they make up that Republicans are voting? I don't know. So anyways, here's what I see happening. Here's the two things that happen. There's a little bit of fraud. And there's three possibilities here. There's a teeny tiny little bit of fraud. Like a lot of claims of it, but when you really get down to it, like when you look at, here, watch, let's just go to Pennsylvania real quick. And there's lots of claims of massive amounts of fraud in Pennsylvania, like tens of thousands of votes are sketchy. Right now, Biden is leading Trump by roughly, what is that? Roughly about 50,000 votes, which is astounding when almost 7 million people voted, that it's that close. But anyways, so they find some fraud and they throw out 5,000 votes. There's fraud. Somebody should go to jail. Somebody should be in trouble for that, but it's not going to change the election. So that's scenario one. And you might be right then, and your prediction will be true. Biden's president. Second thing, they do find out there's massive fraud and overturn. You know, there's talk of like hundreds of thousands of votes are fraudulent, or like in Pennsylvania, came in after Election Day, and the Supreme Court might toss them. That flips Pennsylvania to Trump. He picks up a couple of those other states, and then at the very least, it's a tie, if not Trump wins. And then the third possibility is they look at all this and can't discern how much fraud there actually is, but they prove that there's tons and tons and tons of it. Then what happens is each state votes for the president. It goes into this weird thing of the House and the Senate or something like that. And each state gets to vote, and they have to vote along party lines. And there's 30 Republican states and 20 Democratic states. So if that happens, Trump wins no matter what. So there's like, at the end of the day, I think he has a decent chance if he never concedes to somehow staying president, which I feel would be better. But and at the end of the day, if Biden wins, okay. I don't foresee a bunch of Republican people going out and burning down cities.
No.
That
Has it happened yet?
That are still boarded up, waiting for.
Has it happened yet?
No. We're a week into
no.
this. Exactly a week into this. And there's next to nothing except
no riding.
A couple of Q-tards that drove a Hummer. Go figure, they were driving a Hummer to Philadelphia with a bunch of guns from Maryland or something, got arrested, but fucking idiots.
Well, you're always going to have, like, dummies, but not, like, shit happening everywhere like this summer.
So they basically have everything boarded up right now in case it goes towards Trump, which
is bullshit for the poor businesses that have to be doing that.
That's on a swivel. You can pull that mic over.
I know.
You can just take it wherever you go. Wherever you go, you can just move it around.
What about when I have to pee?
We're gonna have to mic you up with cordless mics. But anyways, enough
Maybe
about.
Maybe that's the way to go.
Enough about election talk.
I'm over it.
Everybody's sick of it. Everybody's
Yes.
tired of hearing about it. And obviously, nobody needs to hear my analysis. I'm just hoping if somebody does hear it, I'll get a Fox News job, or maybe MSNBC, or
Nice.
maybe I'll get Don Lemone's job on CNN, which is probably the most hateable human I've ever listened to in my entire life, but whatever.
I haven't even really listened.
All right. So
Moving on.
we're going to move into our next new segment, the worst thing that has happened in the past week. So
Oh, God.
nobody's week is worse than Joe Exotic's week.
Yep.
Oh. So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
My worst of the week was yesterday. And this might not sound that bad, but we went on a side-by-side ride.
That wasn't yesterday.
Huh?
That was Sunday.
True. Way to do a Facebook fact check.
Mm-hmm.
Live. That was a live Facebook fact check right there.
I'm now employed as a fact checker for douchebaggery.
So we went on almost an 80-mile ride. And what was funny is one of the guys, and Dana was saying this all day, that I fucked up and took so many wrong turns that day that they were in the back And Dana's like, I bet you guys got 10 more miles on me.
Yep.
So I clicked 80 miles when we pulled back. It was like 79.9 when we pulled back in the yard. And one of the guys that was riding in the back said he had 71 miles.
I saw that.
So,
I'm like, well, yeah.
but we hadn't taken this particular course or trail in quite a while. And all the leaves have fallen off. Everything's covered in leaves. And then also, full disclosure, you and I had stayed up way too late the night before. And you were way more under the weather than I was, but it really affected my my leading and trail reading skills. But we made it over just okay. And we were trying to find a couple new trails and failed and had to turn around and come back the way we always go, sort of deal. But we make it. And there were some obstacles. I don't want to say exactly what they were, but we came across a couple obstacles that we weren't expecting that put a snafu in our game. And then to start off with, we start off the trip and there's trees down for the first 2 miles. It seemed like I was getting out every 5 seconds and moving a branch or a tree out of the road. And I scraped my arm all up, and it wasn't a big deal, but just...
I think it was from when we had the major wind
Last week.
stuff going on. Yeah.
So, we make it to we were going to a restaurant to get dinner, and we get there, and, there was 9 buggies altogether, and it was at least 2 people in every buggy, and then some of them were 4-seaters and had more than that. So we rolled in there with 25, 30 people all at once, overwhelm a restaurant. It happens on a regular basis. It's not that they're overwhelmed. They're just instantly there's 25 people there all ordering food, and it gets busy. So we get our food, which was good. Shout out to the Model T. I got a steak sandwich. I thought it was delicious. And then we headed back. And that's when the trip got worse for me. So I'm the only one that knows.
Well, because after you eat, it's like, now I'm tired.
Well, it
now
started
I'm
getting cold too.
Yeah.
And by that time it was 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we're headed back. And
It was already dark.
we're driving along. And like I said, it's super hard to tell the trails because there's so many leaves on them. Like you can't tell. Like normally in the summer when you're driving.
Is that your excuse?
I have way more. Just wait. I'm going to pile the excuses up.
Oh, okay. All right.
There's a well-beaten path. So when you come up, you can kind of be like, almost nobody rides that, or that never gets ridden. And this is the way you go. But this weekend, there were so many leaves. Everything's just covered with leaves. So there's no way to kind of discern that. And then on the way back, we're driving along in the dark, and our lights kept flashing. Go over there and kick in. We can't have snoring dogs in our podcast.
We always have snoring dogs.
No,
you don't have to pause
this.
it. No.
I'm going to go get the dog
Why?
out. I'll be right back.
No.
Okay. The dog is in the other. He's coming right back to the same spot and laying down. Apple. Beat it.
Bubba, go lay on the couch.
Go in there and lay down.
Go lay down, babies.
So anyways, on the way back,
Go get your binky.
excuse me, the lights start flickering, and we lose
The radio was like flashing on and off.
all of our electricity, except for these 2 lights that are mounted on either side of the windshield, and the vehicle kept running. Thank God.
Thankfully. Yeah.
But we had no taillights. Our headlights were out. The lights in our brush guard that are the long distance ones are out. And then what was worse is the ones that are on either side of the windshield are just floodlights. They're not made to go very long distance. And they're what they call side shooters. And the light just goes out to the side. So it's kind of like a
Light
lights up.
in a fishbowl.
Yeah, everything kind of close right in front of you. But what made it worse was our windshield is all scratched to shit, So the light reflecting, like it would come back, and then you couldn't see shit. You could basically see, how far would you say? 10 feet in front of you? 20 maybe?
20's probably pushing it.
But when you come up to an intersection, you couldn't see up the road either direction. You couldn't see anything. It was like driving around in the fog or like a snowstorm.
Yeah. Yep.
And nobody knows the way. And I'm trying to get home because it's school night, so I'm trying to keep the pace up 30 mile an hour or so. And I couldn't see my little markers. So on these trails that we've done, I have these little markers, like there's a old well, or there's a
White boot.
or
Snow shovel.
there'll be a tank or a tree that fell down that we have to go by, or a big rock. Like there's things when I come up to them, I'm like, oh, there's the big rock. Like the turn's coming up down the road a little bit. Couldn't see any of that shit. So I had no bearing on how far I was down the trail. The fucking GPS was like, it won't stay on. It just keeps shutting off, and it was just a whole frustrating affair.
It was.
And then I took the wrong road, took us down. We're coming back, and I'm trying to get everybody back because everybody's tired. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. I kept picking wrong roads. And then and nobody was upset about it at all.
Not to our face.
But I always feel
But
bad.
we made
like,
it.
When I lead a ride, I want to like take everybody directly there and then get them back without incident.
It was so funny because everybody loaded up or, left from our place and had trailered over and everything. We pull in, I literally unlock the house, go pee, come outside, and everyone's gone.
Well, what time do we get back?
It was after 8, I think.
On a Sunday night.
On a Sunday night after,
school night.
a long day of, people have to get kids in bed. And, it was... But I'm like, holy crap, where'd everybody... Like, people were just pulling out when I came around the corner.
Dogs out.
Yeah, yeah. We should have had somebody let our dogs out, turns out.
So, I felt like a real bag of shit.
Well, it's all right.
Sunday night, and then into Monday. I'm like, God damn it.
It's all right, it happens.
And then the level of frustration that I had. Like,
People just know not to let you lead now.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Well, it's just frustrating. You're trying to keep the pace up,
That's
but
all
you
right.
can't see. And I just was leaned over the steering wheel uncomfortably, trying to like squint my eyes so I could see better, and it wasn't working.
It was quite a bit of fun to be the passenger as well.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So that was your worst.
That was my worst of the week.
I get it, but I don't think anybody's like, I am never riding with John again.
No, I don't. I hope not. But I'm just saying.
Unless you don't fix the lights, then they'll be like, okay, I am never riding with John again.
Yeah, I was gonna pressure wash that tonight and work on it. I bet it blew a fuse or something into the dash, but oh well.
I don't know.
So that was my worst of the week. What's yours?
Well, you just talked at length about yours.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I have as much to talk about with mine. But my worst is that Alex Trebek died.
Got you right in the feels, huh?
Yeah. Like, I grew up listening to that guy. Like, my parents watched that shit every night without fail. I bet my mom still watches it.
Can you?
My dad would if he was
80?
alive. Yeah, I can.
I mean, he looked good for 80.
Like, that was just a thing I always attributed, like, that voice, that format, that game show, like, it just, and my dad would be so excited if he'd get a question right, and he got a lot right, because he was very smart, and I just that he died, and it was so sad, because, like, he had come out and said he had cancer a while back and he was gonna fight it and everything, and it's like, no, you didn't, and that just sucks. And
I think the saddest thing that he said was, did you see when he came out, this is like last year or so, because he had cancer, and then didn't he kind of beat it?
Yeah, well, kind of, yeah.
And then he came back to hosting the show, and then it came back.
And that, yeah.
But
Pancreatic cancer is a real bitch.
somewhere in that beating it and coming backstage, he did an interview, and I only saw it once this past weekend, and he's like, I don't know if it was worth fighting and putting my family through hell.
Yep.
I think it'd be easier if I was just gone.
Yeah, that's sad.
And it was like, oh.
So that was my worst, in a nutshell. I mean, like I said, I don't have a whole lot to say, but
So you
it just
watched
sucks.
that when you were a kid?
I didn't so much. Well, I guess kind of watched it, but with half interest. You know, it's not like we had iPads and stuff to look at when we were kids. You know, while our parents were watching TV, it was like you either sat and watched with them, or you went in your bedroom and read or did whatever. You know, so yeah, I very much associate his voice and that game show format with my childhood.
We watched it. We didn't watch it a lot, I don't think.
I feel like, didn't Bert say they still watch it every night, or is that Wheel of Fortune?
I don't know.
Because that was the other one that, like, when Pat Sajak dies, or did he already die?
I think he's still alive.
Okay,
Pretty sure he's still alive.
all right.
The Wheel of Fortune I always thought was retarded. Like, I liked...
Well,
I
that
always...
seems harsh.
The only game show I like is the Match Game. That show is fucking hilarious. Jeopardy...
It's for smart people. It's to make you feel smart.
I can take it
Or
or
in my
leave it.
case, to make you really feel stupid.
I can take it or leave it. Like, it was just... I don't know. It's like that useless facts knowledge that... I don't know. I just... Whatever.
Well, so our worsts really aren't the worst in the whole world. I mean,
All right. So, do you think we should move on to our best?
sure.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
We have a bumper.
Yes.
A bumper, because Pam wants me to educate everybody, is a thing you play before
A
your
short
next...
intro song.
Yeah.
Or
whatever.
clip.
Before your next segment.
Okay.
So...
So is that all the longer it is right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's it. I played
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Right.
But, yeah. It was a good day. So what... It makes me laugh.
That's a good one.
How good was he as a rapper?
Pretty good.
Yeah, that was back in the day. There. Are you looking on your phone to see who it was?
Trying to remember.
It was Ice-T.
I was gonna say Ice-T. Damn it.
Ice-T. I had to listen to that whole song to pull that clip.
And now he's on SVU.
No,
Or he was.
That's not Ice-T, is it?
I don't know. I don't know my rappers. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe. Now I have to fact check you.
Right. Cast of SVU. Put that on there.
Oh, it is Ice-T.
Thank you.
What's the other rapper that's now like a distinguished gentleman? Oh,
Well, Snoop Dogg does like a million.
fuck Snoop Dogg.
Like he's friends
no.
with Martha Stewart, for fuck's sake.
There's
like,
another one now that's like Ice-T that's like on TV shows and shit, and he's just like a regular dude. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
What do you think?
I think we briefly discussed this before the show, and we both had kind of the same thing.
Okay.
So I'll go first.
Okay.
So last night, after months and months and months and months of work, I drove the excursion home, which I was pretty happy about.
So I feel like we have to. I feel like anybody that listens to us knows about the excursion.
Mm-hmm.
Also known as Black Betty, also known as Pam's car, also known as the paint rig.
Mm-hmm. So when did we buy that? It had to have been...
It was 2009 or 10.
That's what I was thinking.
Because I had it for 2 or 3 years before Piper was born, and she was 2012.
So we
which incidentally is
searched,
the year I wrecked it.
we searched around for an excursion forever, and then we found one down in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And I drove down, I bought it. I got a pretty good deal on it. And if I remember right, it had like 88 or 90,000 miles on it. Is that right?
I don't think it was that low.
I'm pretty sure it was under 100.
Okay.
But anyways, we brought it home. Got a good deal. It was black, limited leather, the whole rigmarole. And then we lifted it and made it sweet. Got bumpers and everything on it. And then you drove it for up until June.
Mm-hmm.
You got a new vehicle in June.
Mm-hmm.
And right now it has 226,000 miles on it. And then you used it as a work vehicle and a kid transporter and everything. It was getting pretty ratty.
Yeah.
So last December, I did a whole bunch of mechanical work on it and fixed a bunch of shit up. And then it got you to June. And then it just looks like shit. Like the doors were rusty. There's holes in the rocker panels.
Every time I'd shut the back doors, you would hear all this stuff fall. And it's like, oh, no. I know that's
just
rust.
It was just gross.
Yeah, the bumpers were terrible.
So in June...
Like, I feel like people were actually laughing at me
it just was...
when I was riding around. I mean, people used to laugh anyway. I had a guy say to me, even when it was in fairly good shape, I hopped out of it at Costa's one day, and this guy was standing, young guy, and he goes, "You are the smallest person I've ever seen get out of the biggest vehicle I've ever seen." I'm like, thanks, I think.
So you got a new vehicle in June, newer vehicle, and I...
New to us
right.
vehicle.
Nice vehicle. But anyways, sometime in June, my truck is a 450 dually that rides like dog shit, and a big long bastard, and I don't really need that big of a truck anymore. And I just, one day, I'm like, I'm sick of driving this monstrosity everywhere I go. I'm just gonna buy myself, like, I would love to have a crew cab short bed pickup. So I searched around on the internet that day and was looking to see what I can find. And for whatever reason, I walked outside and I see the Excursion sitting there. It was sitting at the shop. And I'm like, well, duh, stupid.
Yeah.
You already have, like, basically... Because I was thinking about getting a crew
Black
cab...
Betty's sitting there all dejected and unloved.
Well, I was thinking about getting a crew cab short bed pickup with a cap.
Yeah.
And then I walked outside and I'm like, duh.
There it is.
I already have that one. All I gotta do is fix it up. And then
But that was no small feat.
I feel like
all I got to do is fix it up was a list of...
I feel like I need to play that Tiger King. I'm never gonna financially recover from this
Yes.
clip.
Oh my God.
So I started working on it back in June, and I slowly was fixing stuff up, and I was just driving at the same time. And I fixed a bunch of mechanical shit that was wrong with it. And then I fixed, like, just dumb shit, like the back air conditioning didn't blow cold, and I figured out what was wrong with that and fixed that. And then there's just oodles and boodles of dumb shit that didn't work. And it was just a decade and 140,000 miles of you driving it, and wear and tear, and just, shit wears out. And it rusts out.
Yeah. Turns out.
So I got new fenders, all new doors. The only body panel we didn't have to replace was the hood. It was still in good shape, but it needed painted. And the back doors, which are fiberglass, they don't rust out. But everything needed painted. The fenders were all rusted out in the back. The rocker panels across the bottom under the doors were gone, just rusted out. And then, fun fact, the back doors of the Excursion you would think would be the same as a crew cab pickup. Nope. Because that's what I thought. I'm like, fuck it, this is no big deal. There's like a million crew cab pickups out there. I'll just get new doors. Nope. I had to scour around and find rear doors, which I finally found at a reasonable price. And then the rocker panels and all that shit, nobody makes reproduction stuff. So you have to buy stuff from a Super Duty, hack it all up, and I had to fabricate all those parts. And it actually turned out okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like doing that stuff. So it's just a lot of work.
You swear a lot for something you like to do.
That, I didn't swear a lot during that part. A few of the other parts, there's plenty of swearing. But I basically have it, well, like, I stopped at the distributor tonight, and I got a case of beer, and I was throwing it in the back, and I opened the back doors, and I realized I forgot all the rubber molding around the back, and that explains this humongous piece of rubber molding I had. I'm like, what the fuck does this go? And I just set it off to the side. I'm like, and that's been, because it's been so long, it's been, I ripped all that apart in September, and then it got painted and everything, and it's just been apart, and there's shit all over my shop. And then I've been trying to put it together this past week and a half or so, and I just have parts everywhere, and trying to fit the moldings and put the doors all back together again, and it's just...
So it's supposed to rain tonight. Is it gonna...
No, it's fine.
Oh.
The rain... the rain's not going to hurt it.
Oh.
But...
I mean, because you don't have that rubber around the thing. Is it gonna rain inside the...
No, it's fine.
Gotcha.
So, but it's just... It was a tremendous amount of... It's a
It
giant
looks
vehicle.
very nice.
I'm very happy with it.
I'm never going to be allowed to drive it again.
Yeah, you can drive it. Why wouldn't you be?
I don't know.
It's a very nice vehicle now.
It was before.
Well, it's been resurrected.
Yes.
And
It was restored.
what kills me about stuff like this is what people don't understand. And I don't want to say... I don't know how to describe this. So all the time... Well, I'll tell you exactly how to describe it. So there was a guy at my shop today. He came to order an exhaust. And he was looking the Excursion over. And he's like, wow, this is really nice. And I said, yeah, it's mine, blah, blah, blah. And I was putting the lights in the bumper. And he says, what year is this? And I said, it's a 2003. And he was like, oh my God, this thing's like in amazing shape. And I'm like, well, it turns out I just got done redoing it. And shout out to Frank Kramer for painting it. He did a really good job. He did all the paint work on it and stuff, so that looks really nice. And but anyways, I'm like, I'm just putting it back together again. I was actually putting some of the weather stripping on the doors and shit when he was there. And he's like, well, when you say fix it up, what do you mean? Basically everything I just described. And he's like, wow. He goes, you know what? A lot of people talk about how they fix their truck up and they fix things up. And he goes, most of the time it just kind of looks like cobbled up dog shit. He says, but this is beautiful. And I'm like, well, thanks. And what's crazy about it is, if I was doing it for somebody else, I wouldn't be happy with it. Like,
Right.
I cut some corners because it's mine, and I'm like, it's just a driver.
Right.
But if I was doing it for somebody else, I probably would have redone a few different things and whatever. But if you would have taken that, so if you went and bought that Excursion used, okay, and then you took it to someplace and took it from what it was, say, last December, before we did the mechanical stuff, to what it is today, and you couldn't do anything yourself, and you had to pay a shop to do it, you would have easily had $25,000, $30,000 into it. Easily. And people are like, oh, no way. Yes. Yes, way. It is insanely expensive. And that's a giant vehicle. I bet you I had 30, 40 hours.
Well, that's part of the reason it went to shit. There's nowhere big enough for us to park it in. So it sits out in the snow and salt and the bullshit.
It's your daily driver. And that's what you were saying earlier. Like, I wish you would have fixed all this stuff while I was still driving it. Well, it took me driving it for 3 or 4 months from when I was driving it and be like, what the fuck is wrong with that? And then it took me 2 or 3 days.
Because it got to the point where I would just stop telling you what was wrong with it. Because you're like, motherfucker, just get rid of the fucking thing.
You're not listening to me. I started working on the second wave in June.
Right.
It's now November. It took me 5 months of having the vehicle every day to get it done. Which is impossible if you're driving it every day.
Right.
And then I might get to work on it 1 hour a day, or I might get to work on it 5 hours a day, just depending how busy I was. But
Well,
so
it's
much work.
exciting that it was the best for both of us.
So I got to drive it home last night. I was a little nervous, first time I drove it, and I'm like, shit. Did I bolt all the fender flares down? Like, is
Did
the
I
roof
put the
rack
wheels
leaving?
back on
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Did I tighten those?
But I'm pretty proud of it. It turned out pretty nice.
It did. It's very nice. Now it's going to get rained on, so
And
sad.
then, like today, I cleaned the inside. Like it needs it probably 4 more times
Oh, yeah.
because.
It was bad.
So, I'm not throwing you under the bus, and I don't want you to get defensive, but you are not a clean your vehicle person.
No, definitely not.
So you had driven that for however long, and
With a baby and
right,
yeah, just
and you were throwing all your paint stuff and work
dogs
stuff in there, and so it was filthy when you quit driving it. Like it needed a good cleaning inside.
definitely.
And then I took the doors off of it and was grinding and welding and rebuilding all the rocker panels and all that shit.
I think I'm going to bet there were French fries in there from 2014,
There was definitely French fries.
for sure.
And so there's dust and sparks and shit flying all over the place. And then Frank took it and he sanded everything down. And then there's like, he cleaned it once.
Without windows, yeah.
Well, without doors.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant.
Or windows. So there's like sanding dust and shit all over the place.
Right. Yeah, I know.
And he cleaned it once before he brought it back. Like he did a quick wipe everything down. And then I cleaned it today. Oh my God. It was fucking disastrous inside, but I'm pretty proud. Like I got to
Nice.
clean, probably needs another one. Got a few more things to do to it, but pretty happy with it. Looks pretty nice.
It does, absolutely.
So that is after 5 long months of fucking around, not being able to get parts. And the weird thing about these projects are you think like you have this little time frame in your head, like, well, last week for example, on Saturday I said to you, I'm going to get up early, I'm going to go to the shop, and I'm going to finish the excursion today. But I ended up working on your other car. It needed a wheel bearing, and it was like welded on
The
there.
wheel bearing from hell.
And what should have been a half-hour job took me 3 hours to get changed.
And thanks for busting my balls about the empty gas tank publicly on Facebook. Because I was actually, you're going to think I'm just defending myself here, but I have been proud of myself since we got that vehicle. I have kept it very well fueled.
Well, Pam,
And then you bust me
you were like on
like
EE.
me. I think it's. I
You-
know
you
that
weren't
was
even on
alarming.
quarter.
Actually, that was alarming when I saw that picture. I'm like, oh my
We're-
God, and I didn't even realize it.
We're right on the verge of a civil war popping off,
Oh fuck.
or a zombie apocalypse.
Well,
we need gas.
I guess
in the
I won't be
tank.
driving my car, but seriously, last time I had looked at it, it was a quarter, and I'm like, oh okay. I was running around in Bradford. I'm gonna get gas over there. And then the wheel thingy started making noise, and I was just worried about getting home and completely forgot. Like, I was alarmed when I saw that picture at how low that was.
It's like
But wait,
EE.
now that I think about it, was there even a fuel light on in the car?
I didn't pay any attention.
Because that's messed up if there was no fuel light on in the car. Because that was dead empty.
So you can't tell by the gauge. You need a light to come on.
No, I was just a dumbass. Like I said, complete. Last time I looked at it, it was quarter full. I was going to, totally forgot. Definitely my fault.
It was no big deal. I just
Definitely
put
my
gas
fault.
in it.
All right, so let's move on.
All right. That was the best of my week.
Best excursion ever
All right.
after all of John's hard work, for sure.
It was a lot of hard work.
If you see it around town, wave. Hashtag Black Betty.
or text this number
I just
814-271-0600.
I just passed the excursion. Hashtag Black Betty.
All right.
Wait,
so
what can we say? Black Betty.
Make it short. Just Black Betty. Hashtag
Okay.
Black Betty.
Okay.
All right. Now we move on. to the last segment, the last bumper, the funniest of the week. Funny how?
What? So you think I'm funny? You think
Funny
I'm
how?
funny?
Funny
Funny
how?
how?
Do I amuse you?
So funniest.
That's got to be the best movie in the whole wide world, by
Well,
the way.
How many times have we seen that?
I bet I've seen it more than
Yes, because I fall asleep every time because I've seen it 100 times.
you. Do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
You've gone first both times,
All right,
so
so you
I'll
go
go
ahead.
first this time. So funniest, this weekend, Piper had her BFF over for a sleepover, which happens, thankfully, fairly regularly.
She's awesome.
Oh my gosh, this kid is solid, man. She, like, nothing upsets her. She rolls with anything. She'll eat anything, which is hallelujah, because, like...
She's not picky at all. Like,
No,
you
God,
make it, she'll eat
no.
it.
There's no... I have zero complaints.
No behavior problems. Like,
No, God, no.
as a friend to
You
come
barely
over.
know she's here.
Yeah.
Like,
And she's funny, too.
well, so being the funniest is those two giggle from the minute they get together to the minute we have to take her BFF home. And it is just so funny. Like, and they find, of course, they're 8, so they find the dumbest shit funny. But you just can't help but, like, smile riding down the road or something. You can hear
Right.
them in the back seat looking at TikToks or something, and oh my gosh, they just go crazy. It's so funny.
And do you know,
So that's-
the thing that I like about it is it's not like her other friends who constantly talk shit on me all day long. Little savages. They just bust my balls all day long. Mia does not. She's
Right.
like a...
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
She's very respectful, so
Yeah.
I feel like that would be hard for her to
Right.
do. She might laugh while Piper does it,
Yeah.
but not
Oh my
do
God.
it herself. Yeah.
That 2 weeks ago with her other little buddy who rode with us, those two ragged my ass all day long. Nothing mean,
No.
nothing bad, just anything that they could
Toilet.
find to goof on me about, they goofed. And it was funny, but just like, oh my God, give me a break, kids.
Yeah, no, these two. So that's my funniest. Is they just
So my funniest is actually the same thing. So on Friday, I went and picked Mia up, and
that's her BFF.
yep, I picked her up about 1 o'clock. Oh, let me get this up. And at my shop, Piper has just more or less claimed this one desk. It's like her desk. So Mia's been there a few times actually, and I'm sorry, I can't figure out which way. There we go. They've just claimed this one desk, and they sit there, and they either fire up the computer. It's like the shop computer that if somebody came in, we'd look stuff up on or whatever. So they sit there, and they'll either get on the computer or they'll get on the tablets, and they'll just sit like you said. They just sit there and
They just
look at
entertain
the
themselves
dumbest shit.
and- yes.
You don't have to say a word to them.
And laugh. I know.
Like, we ordered a pizza. I had Taylor get a pizza at lunchtime. So it showed up right before they got there. So they had pizza. They had a couple sodas. And they just
to
entertain
go.
themselves for hours. So at one point, they are laughing, like tears coming out of their eyes, can't catch their breath. And I'm over working on something in the shop, and they're looking at their tablet.
You can't help yourself.
And I'm just, well, it's funny, but also I'm like, I should probably go over and paint this. Because, like,
yeah, that's true. Okay.
what are they looking at? Like,
Right.
did they find their way onto something that they're not
Oh,
supposed to be looking
no.
at? Because, I mean, it had kicked up a level. Like, they're always laughing about shit.
Yeah.
But this had kicked up to another level. And they're like, ah! And they're rolling around in the chairs, and they're just dying. And then they get quiet for a second, and then they'd play whatever it was again. And then they'd start laughing again. So finally I'm like, all right, I have to go over and be a parent.
Right.
So I go over and I'm like, what are you two looking at? So they were looking at this video which is a video of a sheep.
Wait, we should give. Oh my God.
The sheep.
Oh my God. Give the caption.
The sheep discovers how to use a trampoline, and I'll put a link in the show notes.
Oh my God. Okay, so it's an in-ground trampoline. Oh my God. Wait, is it just trying to get out?
No, it's jumping. It could
Are
get
you
out.
sure?
Look at it. It's just, it figured out the trampoline. That is hilarious.
Look at what's lined up behind it. That dog's face is hilarious.
They just watch this over
my gosh.
and over again.
And it's not even getting buck wild. It's just like, oh my
I
God.
don't think sheep
Check this
can
out.
do like multiple jumps in a row.
Probably not. I mean, look how fat that sheep is.
Well, I mean, look at the sheep. It just walked over and was like, "Oh, do I jump on this?"
Oh my gosh.
Like it could just jump right off, but it's just
How
having
would
a
it
good old
figure-
time.
Are you sure it's not stuck?
No, it's definitely it could just walk off.
Well,
It's like, what is this?
why is the ground jumpy?
And what's hilarious was
Oh my God.
so they're laughing about that, and they must have watched that 20 times. So, like I said, finally I had to walk over and be like, "What are you guys watching?"
Yeah.
They show me.
And then you see that.
I
and you're
lost my shit. That I'm laughing my ass off because it's hilarious. And then
my God.
when they laugh, it makes me laugh. And then a little while later, we use a message thing at the shop, back and forth. Taylor messages me and she's like, "I feel like those two laughing all day is the best therapy that anybody could have.
Yeah.
Like it's just listening to them laugh makes your day better."
Yeah. And like I
Hilarious.
said, they're only 8. Well, I think Mia just turned 9. But Piper will be 9 in February. And it's like, I just love the innocent, happy age. Like, it is just the best.
And you know they have their secret school stuff they talk about.
I'm
that
sure.
They talk about boys or other girls or whatever. Because I've caught them a couple times just dishing the dirt a little. But for the most part,
There's no shady shit we have to
no,
worry about.
They're
no,
just
like, weirdo stuff going on. Thank God. I wish they could kind of stay here forever, but
I hope they're friends forever.
I know. I feel like it's going to go pretty far.
Because I was thinking about the people I was friends with when I was kids, her age, when I was kids. Like I was
When you
more
were
than
a
one
kid. Right.
I'm still friends with those guys, but I'm not like call them every day BFF sort of people.
Yeah.
I'm not like that with anybody, but I'm not that tight with anybody that
Right.
I hung out with at that age, really.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because they've got, I think it was kindergarten, I think. It was either kindergarten or first grade. I just remember her coming home one day and saying, "Mom, we have a new girl." And that happens a lot, especially this year. They've gotten a total influx of new kids at Smethport. But anyway, she's like, "Mom, there's a new girl." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah?" And I said, "What's her name?" And she said, "Mia." And she said, "She has the prettiest, soft, fluffy hair." And that's all she had to say. And I'm like, "Oh, really?" I said, "Is she nice?" And she says, "I think so. I haven't really talked to her." And that was kind of it. Like, that was kind of all she said. And then just, later that year, she talked about her more. And then, just it's grown and grown and
It
grown.
probably was last year. It was in second grade when we finally met Mia.
Yeah, and started having sleepovers. And
So
we've taken her to camp and just all
it
kinds of
almost
stuff.
feels weird to talk about this, but it is what it is. So what is hilarious about this and kind of funny, and you're like, "Oh, I'm proud of my daughter," is she has talked about Mia. So it was like kindergarten or first grade when she came in.
Yeah, I can't remember.
It was a good ways through second grade because it was the first time Mia came over was it was before the Rona.
Oh, yeah.
She didn't come for camp last summer, did she?
Maybe. I can't remember.
Or was that just this summer?
I can't remember.
But anyways, long story short.
Yeah.
We heard about her buddy Mia for a solid year
Yeah.
at least, if not two. About Mia, and Mia's obviously smart, and
Well, there's
they-
a Three Musketeers thing
Yeah.
happening too. There's a boy.
yeah.
It's Piper and Mia and a boy, but anyway,
Yeah, they all hang out. So
Yeah.
we just hear about those other two constantly.
constantly.
And what was funny was the first time that, I don't know if it was at a school thing or Mia came over to stay, Mia turns out is a little black girl.
Yeah.
And we're like, wait, what? Like this had
She
never
never mentioned it.
a
Never.
word.
No.
Like you,
No.
like not that, not that it matters at all.
No.
But you would think it would have came up in some bit
No.
of conversation over the course of a couple years.
Nope, because
But
it doesn't mean shit.
It doesn't mean anything.
No.
That's
No.
her best friend.
Well,
like
but-
she's the coolest kid in the world. Like
What made me laugh was thinking back to the first thing she said about her was
She has awesome hair.
soft, pretty hair. Big, soft, pretty hair. And I'm like, oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then
like whatever.
it's so funny. Like, and they are
But-
just like inseparable.
Yep.
And I just hope it lasts
But
forever
as
because
a
I know
parent,
what
you're like-
assholes girls are.
You're like, oh, I'm doing a good job.
Yeah, we're okay. But
Oh,
yeah,
made me laugh.
they
Those
so-
two this weekend, just
I know.
the whole weekend. Every time you're around them, they're just
Yeah,
laughing and giggling.
yeah. There's never a like tiff
No,
or
no.
anything. They're just kind of two peas in a pod.
what does make me laugh is Piper can get a little
Mm-hmm.
I want to do things my way, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it is.
Bossy.
Bossy.
She's bossy.
And Mia will call her on it
Oh, good.
a couple times.
I've
Mia's-
never heard her do that.
Yeah, a couple times this weekend. Mia's like, yeah, I don't think so.
Good.
Or why do you want to do that? And like, it wasn't in a mean
Right.
way, but she
Yeah.
called her out on it, which I thought was good.
Yep. Piper can be bossy or like
She thinks everything should be a certain way.
yes.
And if
Yeah.
it deviates from that, then
Oh, Lord.
she's upset.
Yeah. Which whose kid is this? Oh, yours. That's right.
Rude. What, you don't even turn off your phone for the podcast?
No.
Well,
It's over anyway.
so that's the funniest thing.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Ever?
Not if you're having another one Friday.
Well, we won't do our
We've
best.
already gone an hour and a
We
half.
won't do our best, worst, weirdest, funniest.
Well, no.
We'll just ask Lactashes. So here's what I think we should do.
They're
Right.
clearly their best is going to be having the podcast.
No doubt. So here's what we got to do for
No
anybody that's
pressure.
still listening, who has the new number. You can message us on Facebook. You can send me a tweet. This is the podcast is actually on YouTube now. You can get this podcast anywhere podcasts are sold, or you can go to
Ours
John's,
is free.
or you can go to johnsaythings.com. But anyways, or you can send a text to 814-271-0600. Save it in your phone. But
And what do they do once they call that?
leave a message. I was going to give them instructions.
Oh, okay.
If you just hold on a
Sorry.
second.
Sorry.
It's Friday the 13th on Friday. We're going to do a very special, limited edition, Friday the 13th podcast.
Okay. Can we watch scary movies?
On Friday,
Yeah.
we're doing a podcast, bro.
God.
But anyways,
I never get to
on-
watch them.
we can watch them on your own.
That's
on,
fun.
On Friday the 13th, let's, if anybody wants to submit odd superstitions they have, let's talk about superstitions. Because I have one.
Well, don't say it now.
I know, but I have a fucking goofy one. You know what it is.
Yeah, I do.
And I will not. Like,
You're so weird.
I'm fucking tempted all the time, and I'm like, that's bad luck. So
So you're saying superstitions or things you're scared of?
that's a superstition.
Well, all right.
I mean, it's Friday the 13th. They say Friday the 13th is bad luck. That's a superstition. Black
Okay.
cats crossing, don't walk under a ladder, all that good shit.
Do you know how many times I've broken that
I
one?
know. But do you think about it every time you walk under? You're like,
No.
really? You're
Don't
over
give
that.
a shit.
So, anyways, if you want, submit your superstition to us
Okay.
in one form or another. Comment on the Facebook post or text this number, which is 814-271-0600. Or
Hashtag Black Betty.
Or you could tweet us. You could send us a message on YouTube. You could give our Apple podcast a 5-star rating to help move it up on the ranks. You could listen to us on Spotify.
We're moving up in the world.
I mean, really, there's multiple places that. And also, we're looking for sponsors.
Again, we see
We
it
had
every
our
week.
first sponsor tonight,
Yeah.
and we're looking for more. And we're just going to pour the money, the tens of dollars we get from the tens of listeners, back into the podcast.
And by that, you mean snacks and beer for when we have guests.
True story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sweetie pie,
Yeah.
this is always the saddest part of the show.
I know. Because I get tired and then. Hey,
get-
can I have a back rub? No sex.
Is there such a thing?
No, not when it's you.
Because whenever I give a back rub, this
My
is
back
weird. I've
hurts.
never given anybody else a back rub. I've always been scared
Right.
because I always get a boner.
And that is also sad. All I want is a back rub and then I can just go to sleep. But it never happens.
Well, this is all very sad.
So sad for John.
Well, guys, I'll tell you how this all turned out. But I feel like the music that's playing right now.
I'll tell you how it turns out. I don't get a back rub.
Do I get a front rub?
No.
Oh. Wah, wah, wah.
So sad.
All right.
Okay.
See ya.
Peace out.